Yes, it is. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you so much for allowing us to be part of this wonderful celebration here at Bonanzaville. We are the Red River Valley Veterans Concert Band out of Fargo, North Dakota, and we hope you enjoy the next few selections coming up. Our first piece, The Nation's Prayer. It is a tribute to those who have served and those who continue to serve this nation in time of conflict. Our next piece, we're going to go back to our trumpet section. We are going to feature Bruce Emmel. This next piece was used as a talent contest piece for a worldwide competition when Bruce was stationed with the Army in South Korea. This was written by American composer Leroy Anderson in 1949. A quiet melody based on bugle notes played by the trumpet, with the rest of the band playing a lullaby background. This is Trumpeter's Lullaby. This evening we are under the direction of Mr. Aaron Romaine, who has been our director for quite a few years now. He is educated at Minnesota State University of Moorhead with a music degree. He has taught in the Barnesville school system. And within the ranks here, he's playing a licorice stick tonight. We have Mr. Bernie McKigney. He also gets us kicked off in September with some great music. Bernie is a Vietnam veteran, and we thank both of these fine gentlemen for being our director for our season. This next piece is by contemporary composer Steve Hodges. He composed this high-powered piece featuring fast Latin percussion, driving syncopation, and jazz influences. This is Buenaventura. A little bit about our organization. We're a volunteer group that starts out in September. We see some great music. We play in the Fargo-Moorhead area in the winter, and in the springtime we travel off and do our spring concert tour. We've been in Perham, Fergus Falls, in Detroit Lakes, in Wapaton. Last week we were at the North Dakota Veterans Home, and that is always a highlight of our year. So Bonanzaville is ending up our spring tour, and we look forward to next season. So we're getting to summer, and we think about the summer blockbusters. This is from one of those blockbuster films, Captain America, the First Avenger. Composer Alan Silvestri has created a powerful and memorable march with Captain America. With our next piece, the drums and trumpets set the tone as the endearing melody of our national anthem is first introduced. Please sit back and enjoy. We honor our nation with Proudly We Hail. As you can tell, we have a lot of great, fine musicians within this group, and we're going to look back to the trombone section and feature Esther Bromander. She's going to trade in her trombone and feature her vocal skills. This is another great collaboration of George and Ira Gershwin, written for their musical Girl Crazy in 1930. This is But Not For Me.
They're writing songs of love, but not for me. A lucky stars above, but not for me. With love to lead the way, I found more clouds of gray than any Russian play. fall and get that way. Hey ho, alas, and also lack a day. Although I can't dismiss the memory of his kiss, I guess he's not for me. I was a fool to fall and get that way. Hey ho, alas, and also lack a day. Although I can't dismiss the memory of his kiss, I guess he's not for
The stirring arrangement of beloved hymns, Amazing Grace, played by David Strand, and the Battle Hymn of the Republic is enhanced with narration featuring inspirational words from the Declaration of Independence and of Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy within these hallowed halls.
In 1776, patriots created a document that would forever define who we are as Americans. Here in part is what they wrote. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The Civil War marked a new era in the struggle for freedom, and a nation mourned for those who sacrificed their lives. Listen to the words of Abraham Lincoln, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible sword. His truth is marching on. In 1961, John F. Kennedy proclaimed, "Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure that survival and success of liberty, this much we pledge and more." Glory when we lend a hand. Glory to our promised land. Peace can be found if we simply look around. Look around. Within these hallowed halls, of freedom.
Mr. Dale Raleigh on vocals and Mr. Dave Strand on euphonium. We're going to change the style of music up just a little bit, and it gives us a great opportunity to feature one of our finest players. He's been with our group for well over, and I'm thinking it's well over 60 years. He was in 6 years at the Navy School of Music. He played with Tex Beneke, the Glenn Miller Band, Artie Shaw, George Schoen. In the local bands, he played with the Imperials, part of the El Zagle. And also with Jim Ployer's Fargo Theater All-Star Band. He plays a mean tenor sax, but an even meaner licorice stick. This is Dale Howard, and we're going to feature him and a backup of some, Dale Howard. Did I say that he was 92? I think that deserves a round of applause. So he's going to be backed up by a little Dixieland band with Just a Closer Walk with Thee.
over and give you my information, a donation, or I mean for dedication, maybe. Yeah. Power through it.
You go through the office?
We want to thank you. Thank you all for, here we go. We want to thank you all for allowing us to play here today. It's such a treat. This is our last concert of this part of the year until the fall time, when Bernie picks up the baton and leads the group for our fall and early winter shows. So I just want to thank you for allowing us to be part of the celebration. And we are going to end our portion of the show with a fairly neat little march entitled the Billboard March.
Is the director done having fun over there? I couldn't resist that. Thank you very much to Red River Valley Veterans Concert Band for performance. We'll hear them in just a little bit, and the program is about to start. First of all, of course, we will do the presentation of colors, and today we are honored to have the Fargo School System Air Force Junior ROTC. For somebody who was in the Air Force, this is really, really good. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and remove your hat for the presentation of colors by the Fargo Public School Air Force Junior ROTC under the direction of Colonel Stephen Mose and Master Sergeant David Miller. The color guard team is commanded by Cadet Anthony Coronado and Cadet Mariah Iwu, Brennan Bennington, and Charlie Jorgensen. You may be seated. Thank you again to the young men and women for performing our color guard duty this evening. Next, we will have our service songs. This is the part I really like. Dale Brawley will be the announcer of the songs as we go through them, and he will take care of everything that goes on. Mr. Rowley.
Thank you, sir. We are the Red River Valley Veterans Concert Band. Many of the fine redcoats that you see here are veterans themselves. And our tribute to you tonight, the veterans, is going to be to play your service medley hymns. Now, in the programs that were passed out earlier, I hope that you have them. If you don't, maybe you can get them at the desk over there. You have the words to all of the service medleys. Here's the order we're going to go in. We're going to go with the Coast Guard, the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Air Force. When your service is called, please stand and be recognized. Clap, salute, sing, do whatever you want. Again, the words to each of the service hymns are in your programs, and I'm going to be singing them as we do each one. We start traditionally with the Coast Guard. Do we have any Coast Guard veterans here tonight? Seeing none, please sing along with the Coast Guard hymn. United States Coast Guard, stand and be recognized. We're always ready for the call. We place is your time now. This is our tribute to you, United States Army. Stand and be recognized. Hoorah! First we fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the Army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the Army goes rolling along. Then it's high, high, hey, the Army's on its way. Come on, brigades, loud and strong. For wherever you go, you will always know that the Army goes rolling along. Way to go, Army. Hoorah! Semper Fi! United States Marine Corps, stand and be recognized. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, the land, and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, first to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines. United States Navy, stand and be recognized. Anchors aweigh, my boy, anchors aweigh. Farewell to foreign shores, we sail at break of day. Our last night on shore, bring to the bone, until we meet once more in Way to go, Navy. United States Air Force, stand and be recognized. Up we go into the wild blue yonder, mighty high into the sun. Up we go, our thunder and a boy. Give him the gun, give him the gun. Hey, down we dive, spouting our flames from under, off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame or go down in flames. Stay, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. Good job, Air Force.
As the drums fade, we are so proud and honored on behalf of the Red River Valley Veterans Concert Band to thank you so much for your service and for your love.
Dale and I go back a long ways. I think we played on the same softball team back in the 1970s, if you believe that. Went over to Pelican Rapids, is that where we played? Pelican Rapids. So I've known him for a while. There are some special veterans that are going to be part of a program coming up. If you would start coming up here for me, please. A line right up here, Conrad, and so forth. This event would not be possible without a lot of donations from various organizations and companies in town. And the thank you is written on the back of your program. So would you please, if you have needs to purchase things from any of these, if you are in the American Legion, the VFWs, if you see a Vietnam veteran around, thank them for their donations to these events. And you can read them all through there yourself. I'm not going to read them. Somebody's laughing at me over here. I don't even know the person. You're welcome. Okay, we have a number of the Bonanzaville regular staff members here and a large number of the Bonanzaville volunteers. And I want to personally thank all of you for all the work you put on to make this event successful. I am going to read off a few people's names, and you're here, just kind of wave, make sure you recognize. Julie Portillo is the sales and marketing coordinator. She is not here. She put in a great deal of work this year and last year for this event. Anna Rice, who is new, relatively new. She's back over on this side. She's the guest relations supervisor. Andrew Nielsen has been, he's right here in the middle, is the curator. Joe Vasic is the facility manager, and he's right back there again. And believe me, any event is only as successful as the facilities people make it. Don't let anybody fool you. Not even try. And now I'd like to introduce Troy White, the Executive Director of Bonanzaville, if he would come up here. And we have a special presentation of a brick that Haley's Milk Run. Haley, this young lady beside me, has organized a motorcycle ride for milk for students, and she's one herself, of course. How old are you? She's 11 years old. She's doing this at 11. Can you imagine what she's going to be doing at 21? Anyhow, there will be a special presentation of a brick that was in the original White House, way back when, that has been presented, and it's going to be on display here at Bonanzaville, and Troy will be accepting it. And we're going to bring Haley's father in, along with one of the veterans, who will bring it in and hand it off to the veterans that are standing up here, and I'm going to read them in the order I have them written down. Conrad Norgren is World War II Army. Jerome Schwartz, Korean era Army. Ron Duran, that classy dresser next to him, is a friend of mine. Army, Vietnam. Russ Foster, U.S. Navy, Desert Storm. Kurt Ballstar, Army, Desert Storm. Ron Sandbeck, U.S. Navy, First Iraqi War. And Haley's father, Paul, and you're in. Kurt Ballster, I'm sorry, will be handing it off from Haley's father, Paul, and it will go down the line. Young Haley here will make the presentation to Troy. So, pass the brick.
On behalf of Bonanzaville, I would like to thank the Villaneva family for such a generous gift and a donation to Bonanzaville. This is a piece of America's house, and I want to thank everybody who has defended it. Thank you.
Thank you all for participating in this marvelous event. I invite everybody that has an interest and wants to know more about the brick, come up and take a look at it, and behind it is, actually behind me, is an article from the newspaper that'll give you more information on it. And thank you, veterans, for your service and for helping us with our event this afternoon. I cannot believe this. We are exactly on time. Our guest speaker was told he was going to be on at 6:45. It is 6:44 plus, or 18:45 for those that want that kind of time given to us. Randy Wimmer, Colonel Randy Wimmer, retired, is spent 5 years in the U.S. Air Force, 21 years at the Air National Guard here in Fargo. He and his wife, Robin, have raised 2 sons in Fargo. Randy flew as a B-52 navigator during the Vietnam War, stationed out of Guam, that huge island out in the Pacific. And he will tell us about the days of his active service duty in a B-52 41 years ago. So please welcome Randy Wimmer.
Thanks very much. My wife and I are delighted and honored to be in your presence here tonight. I'd like to address you as the folks back home, because even if we're veterans, that's what we are now. We're the folks back home. I'm sure some of you are relatives and visitors and guests of the community, but today, to me, you are the most significant part of a soldier's life. You are the reason we fight the battles, sail the seas, and fly the skies. We do it for the folks back home. Each year, we pause and remember the servicemen and women that died while serving our country. It's important, and I thank you, the folks back home, for coming here today to express your gratitude. My childhood was highlighted by World War II stories from my uncles, and of course the many movies of that era. My teen years were perplexed by the pendulum attitudes of Vietnam. Join the service, flee to Canada, make love, not war. I went to NDSU and then was commissioned in the Air Force. Truthfully, it seemed safer. I'd be at 40,000 feet instead of crawling through the jungle. And less than 2 weeks after I qualified to navigate a B-52, my orders arrived, and we went off to war, about 15,000 B-52 and support personnel. We didn't celebrate Memorial Day in 1972. We were dropping bombs in Vietnam. Suddenly, we were in harm's way. And that's the way it happens, even for those we commemorate today. You get your orders, you say, yes, sir, you pack your bags, say, we'll see you, and we say goodbye to the folks back home. Of course, never in 1,000 years do you believe your airplane could malfunction or be shot out of the sky. We began flying 13-hour combat missions from Guam to Vietnam on April 16th of '72. On May 3rd, the war became very real to me. One of my classmates from navigator training, his name was Ted Sinicki. His F-4 was shot down and he became a POW. On June 21st, a bomber pilot named Captain Dawson turned in his wings. He didn't want to do this anymore. It was his way of protesting. On July 8th of that year, an entire crew, one of our sister crews from Ellsworth Air Force Base, Leroy Johnson, Bill Neely, Kent Dodson, the crew went down in a typhoon. While descending in their parachutes, they watched their B-52 explode in a huge fireball. The crew landed in 40-foot ocean swells and 100-mile-an-hour winds. 5 of the 6 crew members were rescued by the Navy in a submarine. On December 17th, we stood down from flying and attended a massive crew briefing. The next day, 129 B-52s took off from Guam. A new phase of the war began. It was the beginning of the end. Operation Linebacker 2, also known as the 11-Day War. Our targets were Hanoi and Haiphong Harbor. On the second day, another 129 bombers took off and did their mission. On the third day, the enemy got revenge. See, our strategy was far from perfect. Our bombers approached the targets at the same altitude and on the same headings that we had flown the first 2 days. So on day 3, the SAM missiles were very effective and 6 B-52s were downed. And by the way, now there were headlines in the newspapers about the plane shot down. Hundreds of us would be in line to call the folks back home and say, "Don't worry, I'm fine." We didn't have cell phones, and of course we didn't have email with our loved ones. Our crew was flying on day 9 of the 11-day war, and our pilots counted 27 surface-to-air missiles in our proximity while we were on our bomb run. Again, a sister crew of ours, captainized, the navigator was Bill Robinson. Their crew went down, and they were rescued, fortunately. When these 11 days were over, they went back to the peace tables. The Paris Peace Accords were signed on January 23rd, 1973, and 591 American prisoners of war came home on February 12th. They returned home to the folks back home. Excuse me for just a second. I want to recognize a friend of mine out in the audience. Well, not really in the audience. That airplane, 40749. After I left the Vietnam War, I came back to the Air National Guard here in Fargo, and that was a familiar airplane on the runway. We flew it from coast to coast, from 500 feet above the ground to 40,000 feet above the ground. We flew it when it was 20 below zero and 90 above zero. One of the most dependable fighter aircraft the Air Force has ever known, and I'm proud to have flown it. We retired the F-4s in 1990. Then, in 1991, we received orders to report for Desert Storm. Now I was a flight commander in the Air National Guard. Our orders read, for 1 year unless extended. We needed to select 19 Guards men and women for our team. Then I needed to call them and tell them they'd been selected. In your personal list of where was I when JFK was assassinated, or where was I on 9/11, do you remember January 17th, 1991? That was the night the air war phase of Desert Storm began. You might recall because on CNN, the war was televised to the whole world. We sat in awe as Iraq's Scud missiles lit up the sky and cheered when U.S. Patriot missiles intercepted them. Unknowing, I chose that night to call my 19 troops and tell them we'd been activated. The lump in my throat was huge each time a spouse or mom or dad or sister picked up the phone and said hello. I could hear the war in progress in the background of every call that night. My limited experience taught me how brave, how patriotic, how heroic each of these uniformed individuals is, and how supportive the folks back home are, and how deeply distraught we all become when some don't return. We, the folks back home, miss them at the dinner table. We miss them on their birthday. We miss them in the family picture. So please, let's be certain we remember them here today. Thank you very much.
Not on the program. We have a special performance this evening. I was at the bridge ceremony at 7 a.m. on Monday, Memorial Day, and this young man played the bagpipes. I was at the Morehead Armory at 11 o'clock. This young man played the bagpipes. So I said, you know, if you come out to Bonanzaville on Thursday, you can play here too. And he said, how can you say that? I said, I'm the MC, I can add you to the program. So tonight we will finish with Kurt Brickman on the bagpipes, and he'll do Amazing Grace, and I think that's an appropriate song for to conclude our evening's festivities. Thanks again to the Veterans Band. We really appreciate you, Randy. Thank you very much. Air Force ROTC, thank you very much. And look on the news media and on Bonanzaville's web pages and a variety of other places. We will hold this again next year, right, Troy? Troy says absolutely. Kurt. Thank you very much. We'll see you next year. This concludes the program.